There is something dissolving in your tap water right now that your water company is legally required to put there, that your standard filter does not fully remove, and that a jar of black powder that costs $2 has been neutralizing since before your grandparents were born. Not slowing it down, not masking the taste, removing it at the molecular level, permanently, with zero electricity, zero plastic cartridges, and zero monthly subscription to a corporation that mails you a new filter every 60 days like clockwork. Hi, my name is George and this is Buried Secrets. Let me take you back to where this starts. Not 1940, not the 1900s, further. Around 2,000 years before anyone invented indoor plumbing, Sanskrit texts from ancient India described a method for purifying drinking water. The instruction was almost insultingly simple. Boil the water, expose it to sunlight, and filter it through the charred wood. That last part, charred wood, that is the entire secret. That is the technology the filtration industry spent 80 years trying to make you forget. Egyptian sailors in 1500 BC stored drinking water in charred wooden barrels on long ocean voyages. The charring was not decorative. It was not tradition. It was functional. Water stored in charred barrels stayed drinkable for months longer than water stored in uncharred ones. The sailors did not know why. They just knew it worked. And when something works for long enough across enough cultures, it stops being a trick and starts being a law of nature. Japanese brewers in the 17th century used a specific grade of charcoal called binchotan, made from white oak fired at extreme temperatures, to purify the water used in sake production. One stick was dropped into a clay vessel overnight. By morning, the water tasted cleaner, softer, completely stripped of the metallic and chemical edge that came from local wells. Binchotan sticks are still sold in Japan today. A single stick lasts 6 months. It costs about $3. You drop it in a jug and walk away. No cartridge, no subscription, no logo on the side telling you to replace it in 60 days. Just a stick of charred wood doing what charred wood has always done. Meanwhile, on the American frontier in the 1800s, field surgeons packed activated charcoal into wound dressings and mixed it with water for soldiers suffering from dysentery and chemical poisoning. The United States Army Medical Manual from 1860 referenced charcoal filtration as a standard field purification technique. The military did not adopt it because someone had a hunch. They adopted it because it had already been working for 2,000 years across every civilization that ever boiled water over a fire. By 1940, municipal water engineers in Britain and the United States were using granular activated carbon as the primary chemical removal stage in large-scale water treatment facilities, not as an experiment, as standard infrastructure. The science was settled. The material was cheap. The results were consistent. And then the post-war chemical revolution arrived and changed the entire conversation in ways that had nothing to do with your health and everything to do with what someone decided your health was worth charging you for. Now let me show you exactly why this material works, because the science is one of the most elegant things I have ever come across. And I say that as someone who genuinely failed high school chemistry twice. My teacher would be furious that I understand this now. Activated charcoal is not the same as the briquettes sitting next to your backyard grill. That distinction matters enormously. So let me be very clear. Activated charcoal is produced by taking carbon-rich material, typically coconut shells, hardwood, or bamboo, and heating it to extreme temperatures in a low-oxygen environment through a process called pyrolysis. Everything burns away except the pure carbon skeleton. Then, a second process blasts steam or carbon dioxide through that skeleton at temperatures between 800 and 1000 degrees Celsius, blowing open millions of microscopic pores throughout the entire structure. What comes out the other side is a material with a surface area so enormous it borders on absurd. 1 single gram of activated charcoal contains a surface area of up to 1,500 square meters. 3.5 tennis courts. In a powder you can hold between 2 fingers. That is not a marketing claim. That is geometry. And that geometry is what makes this material one of the most powerful chemical capture substances ever discovered by accident, by someone charring wood over a fire thousands of years ago. The critical distinction that separates activated charcoal from everything the filtration industry sells today is a single word: adsorption, not absorption. Adsorption means contaminant molecules are electrochemically attracted to the surface of the carbon and bond to it permanently. They are not filtered mechanically like sand catching a pebble. They are chemically captured at the molecular level. Chlorine molecules, pharmaceutical residue, pesticide compounds, volatile organic chemicals. They hit that carbon surface, and they do not leave. A study published in the Journal of Hazardous Materials confirmed that activated carbon removes up to 96% of chlorine and chloramines from municipal water in a single pass. A paper in Water Research documented greater than 80% reduction in pharmaceutical micropollutants, including ibuprofen, estrogen compounds, and antibiotic residues. These are not fringe studies published in someone's basement newsletter. These are peer-reviewed, government-cited research papers sitting in public databases that the filtration industry is very much hoping you never stumble across on a slow Tuesday afternoon. The suppression pivot. So here is where the story turns dark. And this is the part that makes me genuinely angry every time I sit down to think about it. After World War II, the American chemical industry was sitting on an enormous surplus of production capacity. Factories that had spent 4 years manufacturing military-grade compounds needed new civilian markets, and they needed them fast. The pivot was elegant and devastating in equal measure. Municipalities across the United States began shifting from simple chlorine treatment to more complex chemical cocktails. Chloramine, a compound of chlorine and ammonia, became the preferred disinfection agent in hundreds of American cities because it lasted longer inside aging distribution pipes. Fluoride was introduced into public water supplies in 1945, beginning in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and spread rapidly under federal recommendation. I am not here to debate whether fluoride belongs in drinking water. Smart people have been arguing that question for 70 years, and this is not that video. What I am here to tell you is something far simpler and far more infuriating. The introduction of new chemical compounds into municipal water created a problem that needed solving, and the chemical industry was standing right there at the door with a very expensive solution already in hand. By the 1960s, a commercial water filtration industry had materialized from almost nothing. Pitcher filters, under-sink systems, whole house units began appearing on hardware store shelves and in television commercials. The message was consistent, and it was effective. Your tap water is dangerous. You need our technology to make it safe. Trust the brand, buy the cartridge, replace it every 60 days without question. Here's the part that should make you put down whatever you are currently drinking. The primary active ingredient inside every single one of those branded filter cartridges is activated carbon. The exact same material, the exact same 2,000-year-old powder produced from charred organic material that Egyptian sailors were using before Rome was a city. They took the $2 solution, compressed it into a proprietary plastic cartridge, engineered a housing that only accepts their specific shape, built a subscription model around the replacement schedule, put a logo on it, and sold it back to you at 40 times the raw material cost. The Brita Pitcher filter cartridge retails for approximately $7. It contains roughly 15 grams of activated carbon. 100 grams of food-grade activated charcoal powder costs under $3 from any bulk supplier. The chemistry is identical. The surface area is identical. The adsorption mechanism is identical. The only difference is the plastic and the brand recognition purchased with hundreds of millions of dollars in advertising that you have been paying for every time you bought a replacement cartridge. The vault plug. Before I go further, I need to stop and tell you something important. This video is just one room in a much larger vault. I have spent months pulling together everything the wellness and survival industries have buried behind brand names, service fees, and equipment that costs 100 times more than the chemistry it contains. The Buried Secrets Vault has the complete activated charcoal water filtration guide, the tannic acid rust elimination method that the auto parts industry has been quietly repackaging for 80 years and selling back to you at 15 times the cost, the linseed oil wood restoration formula that contractors charge $900 to perform with 3 ingredients that cost $2 at any hardware store, the earth battery blueprint that generates real measurable electricity from 2 pieces of metal pushed into wet soil, the passive solar wall system that the HVAC industry spent decades lobbying out of architecture school curricula, because a wall that heats your home for free is a wall that destroys a quarterly earnings report. 6 more guides on top of those: fire, shelter, food preservation, emergency power. Everything in one place. No filler, no upsell. Just the knowledge they hoped would quietly die with the generation that remembered it. The link is in the description right now. Stay here, because what comes next is the part your water company really does not want projected on a screen. What's actually in your water? Let me tell you what is actually in your tap water right now, not in some worst-case contamination disaster scenario. In normal, legal, fully certified, meets every federal standard municipal drinking water flowing through pipes into homes across the United States today. Chloramine. As of 2023, over 1 in 3 Americans receive water treated with chloramine rather than simple chlorine. Unlike chlorine, which dissipates if you leave a glass sitting on the counter overnight, chloramine stays in solution and does not evaporate. It passes through standard pitcher filters with only partial removal. Long-term exposure studies from the Environmental Protection Agency Research Division have flagged chloramine as a potential contributor to bladder irritation and respiratory sensitivity at concentrations that are perfectly legal under current federal guidelines. Pharmaceutical compounds. A landmark study by the United States Geological Survey found trace concentrations of pharmaceuticals, including antibiotics, synthetic hormones, and anticonvulsant medications in 80% of water streams tested across the country. These compounds enter water supplies through human excretion and agricultural runoff. Your municipal treatment facility was not designed or equipped to remove them. Activated carbon absorbs them at the molecular level because the chemistry does not care what the compound is called or who manufactured it. Microplastics. Research published in 2018 by scientists at the State University of New York found microplastic particles in 83% of tap water samples from cities across 5 continents. Your water treatment plant has no established protocol for microplastic removal. It is not part of the standard process. Activated carbon catches a significant percentage of microplastic particles as a straightforward function of its pore structure doing exactly what pore structures do. Disinfection byproducts. When chlorine or chloramine reacts with naturally occurring organic matter inside water distribution systems, it produces compounds called trihalomethanes and haloacetic acids. The EPA regulates them. They are still present at legal concentrations in your glass right now. Long-term epidemiological studies have linked chronic exposure to elevated risk of certain cancers. Activated carbon removes them. Your $60 branded pitcher removes some of them. A $3 charcoal charge removes just as many. And it does not need a proprietary replacement shipped to your door every 2 months. Follow the money. Now follow the money, because this is where everything stops being about chemistry and starts being about architecture. The architecture of a system designed to keep you dependent on something you never needed to buy. The global water purification market was valued at $35 billion in 2023 and is projected to cross $45 billion by 2030. The household filtration segment alone accounts for nearly $10 billion of that annually. The top 5 brands control over 60% of market share, and every single one of them is built on the same core ingredient available in bulk for the price of a coffee. Activated carbon cannot be patented. It is a naturally occurring material produced by a process that has existed since the first human being accidentally dropped food into a fire. There is no proprietary molecule. There is no trade secret buried in the formula. There is no intellectual property wall protecting the technology inside those cartridges. So when your primary ingredient is freely available to anyone with $3 and a pulse, you build the moat somewhere else entirely. You patent the plastic housing. You engineer a cartridge shape that physically cannot fit any competitor's pitcher, so the customer is locked into your replacement schedule forever. You pour money into brand advertising that psychologically associates your logo with safety, clarity, and the image of a glacier, until consumers stop thinking about ingredients and start thinking about trust. You fund performance studies designed to measure filter output in ways that justify 60-day replacement cycles, whether the carbon is exhausted or not. And you make absolutely certain that the words activated charcoal never appear in large print on the front of your packaging. Because the day a consumer flips the box over and reads the ingredients list is the day a very uncomfortable question gets asked about the price. The 1978 Consumer Product Labeling Guidelines gave manufacturers the legal ability to list active ingredients under proprietary trade names rather than standard chemical nomenclature. Activated carbon became advanced carbon block technology. It became micro-matrix filtration media. It became next-generation adsorptive substrate. Same black powder. New vocabulary. A larger number on the price tag. The same playbook the rust inhibitor industry ran with tannic acid. The same strategy the wood restoration industry used with linseed oil. Different product. Identical game. Here is what the industry does not want reduced to a single paragraph. So, I'm going to do exactly that. 50 grams of food-grade activated charcoal powder costs under $3. Layered between 2 pieces of cotton cloth inside any clean container with a hole in the bottom, it becomes a functioning water filter that removes up to 96% of chlorine and chloramines, over 80% of pharmaceutical micropollutants, the majority of volatile organic compounds, including pesticide and herbicide residue, and near 100% of taste and odor compounds. One charge treats approximately 200 liters before the carbon surface saturates. That is 50 days of filtered drinking water for a family of 4 at a cost of $3. That is the product inside the $60 pitcher. That is the chemistry inside the $7 replacement cartridge. That is what the advanced carbon block technology label is describing in language engineered to sound like it requires a factory to produce. Now, I will be honest with you, because you deserve the version without the fine print hidden in small type. Activated charcoal does not remove dissolved minerals, nitrates, or fluoride at standard gravity-fed contact times. It does not kill bacteria or viruses. If your water source has a biological contamination problem, this does not solve that problem. Boil the water first. This material is a chemical removal tool, not a biological sterilization system. Use it for what it does. Know where it ends. The honest version of a suppressed solution is still honest. The knowledge did not disappear because it stopped working. Activated charcoal was filtering water in Sanskrit manuscripts 2,000 years before the first municipal treatment plant broke ground. It was keeping Egyptian sailors alive on open ocean voyages before anyone had drawn a map of the Atlantic. It was standard issue in the United States Army field medicine before the Civil War ended. It sat at the operational center of every major water treatment breakthrough of the 20th century. And then it got a plastic housing, a proprietary cartridge shape, a replacement schedule printed on the box, a television commercial, and a price that has nothing to do with what is inside it and everything to do with what someone decided ignorance was worth charging. The powder did not change. The chemistry did not change. The 1,500 square meters of surface area, packed into a single gram, did not change. The only thing that changed was the packaging, the vocabulary, and the size of the marketing budget deployed to make sure you never thought to ask what was actually inside the thing you were buying every 2 months without question. $35 billion in annual revenue depends on that question never getting asked. $10 billion in household filter sales depends on you associating clean water with brand names rather than with a material your ancestors discovered by accident around a fire before written language existed. The carbon does not have a marketing budget. Adsorption does not require a subscription. The chemistry has been working since before anyone thought to charge money for it, and it will keep working long after the last plastic cartridge gets dropped in a landfill somewhere. Your great-grandparents knew what to put in the water barrel. The Egyptian sailors knew. The Japanese brewers still know, and they have been dropping white oak sticks into clay jugs for 400 years without once receiving a shipment notification from a filter company. You know it now too. If this vault changed how you look at that pitcher on your kitchen counter, subscribe and share this immediately. Every share is a crack in a wall built with $35 billion. Every subscription keeps us digging into the vaults they assumed were sealed forever. The next vault opens soon, and what is inside makes this one look like a warm-up.